we're going to go over some basic submissions, fundamental submissions from the guard. There's really only so many submissions that are effective in the closed guard. So we're going to go over, depending on if the guy has his hand on the ground, depending on if the guy's elbow is close to your stomach, depending on if the guy grabs around your head, depending on whether it is wrapped around your leg. We're going to go over the basic fundamentals from those various positions. Okay guys, we're going to start off in the closed guard. Depending on what our opponent does here is going to depend on what we're going to do. He's going to make the decision what he's going to get tapped out with, not us making the decision what he's going to get tapped out with. So first we're going to go into our armbar. If his elbow is anywhere remotely close to our stomach, there's going to be an opportunity for us to hit the armbar. So we're going to do 4 steps. Okay? Step 1, foot in the hip, knee tight to the back of the shoulder. Step 2, leg parallel across the back. Okay? This is a key step. This is probably the most important out of all the steps, is to get this across the back. Okay? I'm going to lift my shoulders up, lift my hips up off the ground slightly, and I'm going to pivot, taking my sternum and matching my shin. So I want my sternum and my shin to be going in the same direction. Okay? So I pivot slightly. Makes it easy for us to go into step 4. The leg up over the head. Heel's going to come down to the ground, pinch towards our butt, grab onto the hand, thumb's going to be pointed upwards, knees together, and extend for the tap. Both sides. Like I said before, depending on what he does is going to depend on my reaction. So it's his action and then my reaction, not the other way around, okay? So he sticks his hand on the ground, is going to give me an opportunity to do a shoulder lock, okay? So one of the things with the shoulder lock, we want to make sure that we get our arms straight before we sit up, okay? So in order to do that, we have to move. If I go like this, it's very difficult for me to sit up. So I want to move my body over to get my arms straight, keep my elbow nice and tight to my body. Okay, from this position, depending on how flexible you are, you can put your feet on the ground. It's not necessary, it's an option. Keep my elbow nice and tight to my body. You can see I can sit up nice and easy without much effort. Okay, if I have my elbow out to the side, it's much more difficult for me to sit up. So I want the elbow into the side, reach up, and common mistake here is guys go up over the shoulder. Okay, I don't want to go over the shoulder, I want to go close to the elbow. And it makes it easy for me to grab on to my own wrist. Curl my wrist in, hold the arm nice and tight to the chest. I want it to be at 90 degrees. Scoop my hips out just a little bit, maybe an inch or 2. I'm going to fall over to my other side, put my leg over his back. I want to scoop my hips out again. From this position, put my leg over his back, cross my feet if I want to, not necessary. And I want his arm at a 90-degree angle. From here, continue to hold this tight to my chest. I'm not going to push away with my hands to get the leverage. I'm going to keep it nice and tight to my chest and turn my shoulders to put the pressure towards the back of his head. Our next submission. We're already established. If the guy's got his elbow close to my stomach, I can hit an armbar. His hands on the ground, I can look for a Kimura. Another common situation is if the guy tries to take his hand and put it underneath one of my legs. Puts his arm underneath. I'm just going to do this very similar to the arm lock. Foot's going to go in the hip, and then the leg's going to go, instead of across his back, it's going to go over the back of his neck. Okay, I don't want it to go over his back. Here it's going to be very difficult for me to lock my legs. Over the back of his neck, it's going to be much, much easier to lock my legs. You see, I don't even have to grab my shin, okay? But a good habit here is to go up and grab the shin, okay? Before you lock the triangle. This is a very difficult position for him to get out of right here. I can hold this, he can try to struggle, get out of it. It's going to be very difficult for him to get out. But whenever I'm ready, I can lock in the triangle. Foot's gonna go on the hip, leg's gonna go up across the back of his neck. Make sure I'm pinching my knees together here. I'm gonna reach up, grab onto my shin. As I'm doing that, I'm gonna pull his elbow across my body. I'm gonna lock in my triangle with my toes pointed. Once I get it locked, my toes are gonna go up in the air. And now I'm gonna take my knees, I'm gonna pinch my knees together and bring my heel out to the outside as I'm grabbing the back of the head and putting pressure inwards. One thing you guys wanna pay attention to here is putting pressure once you get the triangle locked. I see a lot of people, especially tall, thin legs, have a hard time finishing a triangle. Okay, remember, when you lock the triangle, toes get pointed, okay? That makes it so there's a lot more space here. It's easier to lock the triangle. Once you get it locked, you want to point those toes upwards. You can see that space minimizes, okay? Now, as I take that heel out to the side and pinch my knees together, you can see that space even minimizes that much more, okay? So, the idea is to lock in the triangle, point the toes up, heel comes out to the side, and squeeze the knees together. Okay, guys, another thing that's common here is the guy, especially with certain types of fighters, they like to grab around your head, and if that happens, there's an easy way to handle it. Okay, so he reaches his arm up around the back of my head. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a frame. I'm going to take my wrist, the knife into my wrist, and I'm going to put it in his neck, and then grab my hand from the other side, and I'm going to start putting pressure away from him. Okay. Once I get this frame in here, I'm going to take my foot, I'm going to stick it on the mat, and I'm going to escape my hips out away from him, okay, to where I can put my foot right on his hip. Then my other foot goes on his other hip, my knees pinch together here, okay? So my knees are going to clamp right over his shoulder, okay? This is key. Everybody wants to bring their leg up here like this. Don't do that, just keep it towards his hip. Both your feet should be on his hips. Knees are gonna pinch together, nice and tight. Reach around and grab my upper arm, reach around, grab my upper arm, and I'm gonna look towards the ceiling, and I'm gonna bring my elbows to the ground, and I'm gonna do a crunch at the same time. Just let everybody know, this is a lower percentage submission. It is effective, you can get a tap out of it, but it's a great submission to set up other submissions with. So it's a transitional submission, just like the Omaplata, which we're about to do. Okay guys, there's a lot of different ways of setting up an Omaplata. I'm showing you one way, a basic way of setting up an Omaplata, okay? Anytime this guy sticks his arm around your leg, outside of your leg is going to give you an opportunity to do an Omaplata, okay? So we're going to do it from this side so you'll be able to see a little bit better. So from here, one of the things that I want to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to clear my knee. So I'm going to push on his shoulder, bring my knee in front of it, okay? Once I get to this position, I got my foot on his hip, put my leg across his back. I'm going to screw my body to the side, foot's going to go on the ground, pull the foot over the head, scoot your hips out. Key, scoot the hips out. You want him to get to the ground. His chest has to be touching the ground in order to sit up. Finish the Omaplata.